The team that finished in 5th in the Pacific last season on 93 points, the Calgary Flames. One of the most bizarre seasons last year in the aftermath of the Matthew Tkachuk trade. Jonathan Huberdeau suffers the largest points fall off, I believe, in NHL history, from 115 to 55 on a year-on-year basis. And that was before his new contract kicked in.
Yeah.
Starting this year, he goes from $5.9 million to $10.5 for 8 seasons with a full no movement clause and a no trade 12 teams in the last 2 years of the deal at 30 years old. They have Elias Lindholm on an expiring deal, Mikhail Backlund, Hanifin, Tanev, Zadorov. They got a lot of expiring deals. They didn't really bring in any talent outside of Yegor Sharangovich, but that was in the Tyler Toffoli trade, which a lot of people would view as a loss at face value. Time will tell. They are another team where you're looking at what younger talent can step into the lineup and step up. And outside of that, oh God, what are we going to do if it's not looking good? It's just very, very similar to a certain Canadian cousin that we just talked about. Canadian teams, man.
I feel so bad for Ryan Huska. Like, what is he getting himself into? Like, after the whole Daryl Sutter's debacle, and color me shocked if anyone thought that was going to last more than one successful season. But just, there's a reason why at the start of the offseason there were all these reports about Calgary players wanting out and they wanted to be traded. They wanted to be gone. The culture there is not great. The stadium situation, or the arena situation, has been going on for God knows how long. They have no idea what's going on there. Now they have that reconciled, yay. But still, you're hoping that Huberdeau picks up where he left off. And of course, you got Lindholm, who's one of the best two-way centers in the league, and you're opening for guys like Dylan Dubé to pick up, and then Jacob Markstrom, you hope he returns to form. It's just a whole giant mess for Calgary, and I really don't know if they're going to be better. There's probably going to be a drop-off, but I'm in that area where it's like, is it that much of a drop-off, or is it like a colossal drop-off? Because they're not going to make the playoffs either way, so it's kind of like a scale there.
It is good in a positive way that, okay, you have a different coach, you have a different GM in Craig Conroy at this stage, former player for the team as a part of that 04 Cup run. But how long is it going to take how long will it take until you see the effects of the new changes? Is Ryan Huska as a coach going to be able to kind of unlock what Jonathan Huberdeau once was? I can see this team doing better, but at the same time, I can also see, and maybe it feels more likely, that it could be like, oh, okay, it's just what's been built is fundamentally broken, and we just got to move on at this stage and kind of start to put our own spin on things. So 93 points last season, like I mentioned. I could see them doing better, but they had a league high amount of overtime losses. Can you believe it? The Sharks with 16 did not lead the league. Calgary did with 17 overtime points.
You're telling me Daryl Sutter's not a good 3-on-3 coach or shootout coach? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Imagine, right? Imagine. So,
90s Shark coaching legend, by the way. And he's still putting in strategies from the 90s too. Also, another one that you didn't bring up, but Mangiapane. He was looking like he could be something special. He had a 35-goal season in 21-22 and 55 points. And then in the last season, he had less than half of that goal total, 17. So I think there's a lot of guys who could bounce back with a new, more free-form coach or whatever. Like a coach that isn't just about system defense, right? And that's pretty much what we all agree Daryl Sutter kind of still is. And, that just old school, I guess you could say. I could see them. There's a lot of guys who could bounce back, Huberto being the main one, but a lot of guys like that who could benefit from, different strategies and stuff like that. And obviously, as Huberto is your main guy now, you got to build a system around him. Otherwise, you're spending 10.5 mil for nothing. So that has to be what you build around. And I think Mangiapane, with his play style and, smaller guy, speedy, can shoot the puck. I think he can benefit from that as well. So, but yeah, that's impressive considering that Hubert only had 55 points. Honestly, I think it's impressive that they had 93 points last season. So it's hard to say where they're going to end up. I think a lot has to go right for them to make the playoffs, and that's never a position that you want to be in.
Hey, it's great, that they got so close to the playoffs, but you know what helped out a lot better? Them not putting out fucking Nick Ritchie in a crucial playoff bound situation in the shootout. You put out a guy who he obviously has hands using in the NHL, but you put out a specialty player in a situation where you need the score, and your reasoning is, he scored on him before.
Daryl Sutter, yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about 3-on-3 archaic stuff. I'm sure Daryl Sutter's a great guy. He has a ranch. He has horses and all that stuff. Yeah, you forgot about the ranch. I didn't forget about the ranch. Oh man, and just I'm sure he's a great guy, great, awesome guy. But this, coaching archaic. Like you said, Mangiapane went from a 35 goal scorer. They definitely needed a fresh set of eyes on there to really assess everything. Man,
The ultimate qualifier of morals. Do you have a ranch?
Does he have a ranch?
Nothing will ever beat Ryan Getzlaf's chicken coop.
I forgot about that.
That was incredible.